TV. But if you've been on TikTok or maybe Instagram, you've probably seen our guest today, Matthew Bounds, a.k.a. your Barefoot neighbor. He's on social media, and he entertains followers with easy-to-make recipes, and he now has a cookbook, Come Fix You a Plate. And he's joining us today. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, Rebecca.
I have to be honest. I'm not on TikTok, but all my TikTok friends are like, "You have Matthew Bounds on today," and so you are famous with all of my TikTok friends. So I feel a little behind the curve, but I did find you on Instagram, and I can see why they absolutely adore your videos. But I love your story, Matthew, because you back in like 2022, you really weren't on social media a lot, and this has kind of really snowballed over the last year or so. So start us off. When did you get sort of inspired to start your Barefoot neighbor?
Yeah, it was spring of 2022. I had no social media presence at all. And a friend of mine started a TikTok account for her dog. And she said, "I need you to make a TikTok account so you can go like my dog videos." And I did. So then I got hooked on TikTok, and then she talked me into putting up a couple of videos. I did that, and it all took off from there.
And as they say, the rest is history. But it's not. This is not how it works for everybody, Matthew. I think you're at, like 28 million likes or however they followers there on TikTok, and 200-something thousand, I think, over on Instagram. You can correct me if those numbers are incredibly wrong, but I like a lot, right? Like, I mean, it really took off for you. And so in the beginning, I think you started with sort of DIY projects. Was that kind of around your home, or just things that you were interested in before the cooking, right?
Yeah, that's how I started. And I am going to back up and correct you. So over Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, I've got a little over 2 million followers.
Okay,
so.
2. Hey, you know what? 28 million is down the road.
28 million, that's a very big deal. Yeah, so I started out, I was actually working on some like yard work and planter boxes and all, and that's what my friend told me. She said, you should totally put how to build this on TikTok. And people will watch it. And I said, okay, cool. So I did it, and people watched it, and they liked it. And I started getting some people following me. And then, it's just really hot in Mississippi, and it's not fun for me to be hot and sweaty and covered in sawdust and trying to film what I'm doing. So I learned real quick that I was not going to be an exclusively DIY channel. So I was didn't really know what I was going to do, and I was just having fun with it. I was just making goofy little videos. And then, I cooked dinner one night, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to film this. And people liked it, so I did it again. And
what was the first dinner recipe you cooked?
Oh, I don't even remember. I think it was like lasagna or something one night. I didn't even talk in it. I just put music over it and just showed myself making lasagna. And then I can't remember what the first one I actually gave instructions for was. But I did a few, and I was still doing some other stuff. And then, the cooking really just started to get some attention. And a larger, actually, Mississippi queen who lives down here on the Gulf Coast, she made one of my recipes, and that just really kind of blew up my cooking side of things. She attracted a lot of people to me for that reason, and so I was like, okay, well, we're a cooking channel now. This is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing, which is great, because I hear that you didn't even really know how to cook very well. That's self-proclaimed that you maybe weren't the best, or you wouldn't consider yourself a major home chef prior to this, which I think is what resonates with a lot of your videos, Matthew, is you're like one of us. You just want that easy to do, get it on the table. You can't really mess it up. You'd have to try hard. And then, people really can respond to that. Not only do they like the video, but then they can do what you're saying. So that's also very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a terrible cook, and that was one of my pandemic projects because I had all this extra time on my hands. I was working from home, and I said, well, I'm going to teach myself to cook. So I learned how to cook, and then as things kind of evolved on social media, I started noticing that people really liked the simpler type recipes. So that when they approached me about writing a cookbook, I was like, yeah, you know what, let's do it. But I said, I only want to write a cookbook if we can put stuff in there that people will actually make, because I can't tell you how many cookbooks I own just for the pretty pictures. I'm never going to, in a million years, going to make anything in that cookbook. And so that was the subtitle of the book. It's Food You'll Actually Cook. And so anything in there, you can open up to any page, and I guarantee you can make it.
I love the title, too, Come Fix You a Plate, which is our guest, Matthew Bounds' cookbook, because I can't tell you, too, how many times a Southern hostess or host has said, come fix you a plate. Like, it's ready. Like, come on, come fix you a plate. And so, and that resonates, too, kind of with your recipes. They are very Southern inspired. Is that just from your background living here in Mississippi? Do you have, I know some of your family members or like family members have inspired some of your recipes, which you give credit to. Is that kind of all the influence there into what's in your cookbook?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Southern Baptist preacher's kid, so yeah, we like to eat on Sundays, and you're usually eating at someone's house, and yeah, it's just that whole culture, that Southern. You're gonna eat, whether you're hungry or not. If you show up, you're gonna eat something before you leave their house. So that's kind of what it stemmed from, and it also kind of stemmed from a little catchphrase I had on social media. I kind of did this sign off one day, and I was just joking around, and I signed off the video, and I don't think I can repeat this on the radio. I'll censor it, but I said, "All right, y'all come fix you a plate, unless you're." And I had a colorful word. And so my publisher was like, man, everybody really loved that. That should be the name of your book. So we just shaved off the part that we would have had to censor. And I just went with Come Fix You a Plate.
I appreciate that. And I'm sure all of your friends, all your fans who've followed you for a while, whenever they see your cookbook, they probably know exactly what was going on in the rest sort of in the rest of your head. At what point, though, in Matthew, in sort of your social media, short-lived but very productive career, that you went viral and ended up on GMA with your chicken cobbler?
Yeah, I made chicken cobbler for the first time on November 22nd, 2022.
Okay, so almost a year.
Almost a year ago today. And I made it, and it was like this kind of Frankenstein recipe of several different, like a friend of mine had sent me this recipe and said, hey, I made this, but I changed this. And I said, well, that sounds good. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it your way, but then I'm also going to change it again. So it was like this whole mismatch. And I'm getting ready to put the video on social media. And by the way, I messed it all up. I forgot the butter. I overcooked it. I had the oven on the wrong temperature. Anyway, so I get ready to post it. I said, you know what, I'm putting it up anyway, because I put my fails up, because people like to see when it doesn't go right. It's a lot of fun to laugh about it. I've had stuff come out horribly, and I just post it anyway. Because
and it's relatable.
So I was like, let me put it up. So I'm like, I don't know, what do I even call this? What even is this? Because it's kind of chicken pot pie, but it's not really chicken pot pie. And a friend of mine said, you know what, it looks like you're making chicken cobbler. It's like a fruit cobbler. And I was like, oh, but with chicken. And I said, oh, my God, that's what it's going to be. People are going to love it or they're going to hate it. And it went viral in November. Well, then I made it again to launch my cookbook the first part of May this year. Because it's page one in my cookbook, because that's really the recipe that really put me on the map on social media. So when I launched my cookbook the first part of May, I made it again kind of as a celebratory nod to it. And it went viral again. And it's got, I don't even know how many views it's got at this point. Across all of social media, it's probably pushing 100 million views.
Okay, so we can use the 28 million now. 28 million sounds small now, doesn't it, Matthew?
It does sound small, right. So yeah, Good Morning America reached out to me, and they said, hey, this is literally everywhere. Everyone is making this chicken cobbler. Can you come on Good Morning America and make it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. So,
and that's a little bit of a different experience from doing your cooking there in the comfort of your own home, with the control of the camera, versus being on national television, doing it for everybody, which you did there on GMA. Matthew, hang tight with us. We got more with your Barefoot neighbor coming up next here on B. Maybe you called our guest over on GMA. That would be Matthew Bounds, aka your Barefoot neighbor. Now, it's been a little while since then, so it hasn't been necessarily here recently, Matthew, but that really sort of put you on a different level and put you to that next step when you think of like a social influencer. So how was it making your chicken cobbler there for everyone in the world to see?
Well, I have to clarify. It wasn't in studio. It was a Zoom call with one of their correspondents. And so I was in my kitchen and she was in her kitchen. And then we made it together, and then she took it up to the studio, and then they tried it in studio. So that's how it played out.
But still, it's a different audience, right? Like, I mean, it's different pressure than you making your videos here in Mississippi. I guess you're still in the comfort of your own home, but now you have like sort of that national sort of audience. You grew pretty quickly. Did that ever just feel weird, or did you always feel like you were cultivating this community of friends that I guess you felt like you could chat with or fellowship with even through your cooking? That may sound weird, but I mean, or did it feel a little awkward to get so big so quick?
It was really odd the first couple times I went viral. Every time you have a video go viral, you have a ton of new people that come in, and they don't know you, and so they have to get to know you. But yeah, it totally does feel like a community. I've made some really, really great friends all over the country via social media, and we've done a lot. My audience has raised tons and tons of money this past year for different charities. We've bought out entire Amazon wish lists for charities and kids. I mean, we've done a lot of really cool stuff. So it's a pretty awesome crowd.
So would the Matthew Bounds of 2021 think you're nuts if you were to projected what Matthew Bounds of 2023 at the end of 2023 would be doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He would say there's no way. There's absolutely no way. Because I deleted all my social media after 2020. I just used it, like everybody else at that point. I was on it just for personal use. But, I was really unhappy. And I was like, I gotta work on myself. And part of that was just deleting all social media and just taking a break from it for a couple of years. So, yeah, 2021 me, there's no way he could have ever seen this coming.
So when you chose to get back on, Matthew, because I feel like, so many of us can resonate with that. I know for myself, I've had my finger near that delete, burn it all down button before. Did you come back with it with maybe a different perspective? We've often heard it's not how often you're on social media that bothers your mental health. It's more of like the way you use it or like your expectations out of it. So what shifted for you when you came back to it?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I'm actually, I was invited to give a TED Talk in February in Florida. So I'm giving a TED Talk. It's going to be about this exact topic. It's about online community and how to have a good online experience. And yeah, when I came back, I said it out loud. I remember saying, this is going to be a good experience. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a good time doing it. I'm going to do good with it. And so I just engage with people online that make me happy, that I think are doing good things, and I don't engage with content if I see negativity or something that makes me uncomfortable, or I don't get mad. I don't go to the comment section. I simply scroll on, because that's what a lot of people don't realize. They get so mad over things, but the more you comment and interact with those things, the more that social media is going to show you those things, and the angrier you're going to get. So stay away from things.
It's like the joke's on you. If it makes you mad, don't comment, and it just goes away. But that's the way it goes. Well, I think, Matthew, part of your likability is it feels like we're in your kitchen, that you talk to the camera and to your, I guess, your community, your followers, the way that most of us would if we just had a friend over and we're making dinner. You're not like preachy, but you're yourself, and you're not necessarily PC, and you're just sort of being authentic to who you are, and if you were talking to a friend. And so that is extremely relatable to those that are watching it. It's a breath of fresh air from maybe those cookie cutter trying to be TV style perfect, I guess chefs or home chefs or cooks or cooking shows or anything.
For sure.
Sort of that nature. So if you had someone who was like, man, I want to do that, what would you say to them?
I would say go for it. Get started. There is plenty of room on social media for everyone. You've got something no one else has, even if you think you don't. Just start getting on there. You're going to reinvent yourself 100 times before you find what works. And, just get started. It does not matter what you do. It does not matter what your hobby is. You have some kind of skill you can put on social media that someone else is going to learn from and find valuable. And if you want to turn it into a living, it's a lot of work. I work more now than I ever did at any other job in the rest of my life. But if you're passionate about it, it's great. And you can make money at it. We're the new commercials, social media creators and personalities. We are the new commercials. We're the new people that brands are approaching to place their products. If anybody wants to get started, absolutely get started and go for it.
And one of the most important things, Matthew, is your handle, which I think about you going back to 2022 and you were coming back from, I guess, a sabbatical from social media. And then you see that little @ button and you have to fill it out before, the world sees you online, and you chose your Barefoot neighbor. What's behind that?
I did not exactly know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to have 1 follower or 1 million. I didn't know anything. I just thought, if I ever do anything with this, I want to build a community, and I want everybody to, exactly what you just said. I appreciate that when you said you feel like you're in my kitchen. I love when people tell me that, because that is exactly what I want it to feel like. So I chose your Barefoot neighbor because, I'm frequently barefoot, and usually, I just want it to be very approachable. I just want it to feel like I'm just that guy that lives down the street from you that, is cooking dinner, and we may not be wearing shoes, and we might be drinking, and, we might cuss a little bit. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're going to get it done.
We're going to get it done, and then you come fix you a plate, right? Like, that's how it is.
Come fix you a plate, yep.
So when we talk about your cookbook, where can we get it? What kind of skill level do you need? Is it mostly Southern? Do you throw other things in there? Tell us about your cookbook.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if I would call it exclusively Southern. It is, but it is very comfort food. It is meat and potatoes and carbs and cheese, and it's you have no skill level necessary. I have a ton of people. Really, my biggest demographic is people who tell me that they're buying my cookbook for their young adult children who are moving out for the first time on their own, because it is very simple. Crock pot stuff, throw it in the crock pot, make a casserole out of it. It's just super, super simple recipes. And I have a section in the back, and again, I can't repeat it on the title of it on public radio, but it's just talking about how we're basic. And so it's just some little basic things. It's like little 3-ingredient recipes and just little super easy stuff that people can make. And you can get it at found.us. Or you can go to any of my social media. If you find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere. If you go to my homepage, there's going to be a link there. If you click that link, you're going to find my cookbook. You're going to find my newsletter. You're going to find everything. Anything I use in my videos is linked up right there. If you see me using a food chopper and you like it and you want one, go to my link on my homepage. I'm going to have it there for you. You don't have to look far.
Matthew, what's your favorite recipe?
Oh, the Cajun chicken pasta by far. I made it. I've been making it for a while, and I made it one night for social media, and I called it Cajun chicken pasta. And my Louisiana followers quickly corrected me that that's not proper Cajun. So we call it Cajun apostrophe T, because it ain't quite Cajun pasta. So that's in the cookbook as well. And that's my favorite recipe.
Yeah, I encourage folks to go look, follow. That way we can get you closer to that 28 million. So that way the next time you're on Good Things, I won't have my math wrong. But you're at least when it went viral, at least went over 28 million views. But still, that's impressive. It just means you struck a chord. People like your message. They like what you're doing and cooking. And so congratulations on all your success, and continuing to call Mississippi home.
Thank you so much. And look, I'm going to tell everybody real quick, if y'all want the real Barefoot neighbor, TikTok's where that's where I put all my extra footage and all the extra stuff. If you want to see the real Barefoot neighbor, you got to be on TikTok.
That's where all my friends follow you. So I feel like I need an autograph or something. I'm like, so you definitely have some fans out there. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me on, Rebecca.
All righty. You guys stick with this. We got more for you coming up next.